Howdy folks, Gabriel here, just soaking up the last little bits of sunshine late in the evening here. It's early May and we finally got some sunny and warmish weather. Dealing with a few massive mosquitoes that have been accosting me. This area was covered in snow not that long ago, and so it's kind of marshy now as a result, so it's kind of mosquito heaven. So this video is titled Spiritual Hitchhiking. And I just thought that I would talk briefly about some of my hitchhiking experiences and how it has been a part of my spiritual path. And pardon the wind, hopefully I can be heard over it. So I first started hitchhiking when I was only 8 or 9 years old. I was raised in Northern California outside of a small town up a dirt road, and the school bus would drop us off at the end of this dirt road, and then I would have to walk about 1.5 miles up the road to our big house in the woods. And at some point I got the idea, well, rather than walking every day up this road, why don't I just take a seat on the side of the road, grab a good book, read from it, and wait for the next neighbor's car to come along and hitch a ride. And it worked, and so I started doing that. And then later in high school, then I started hitchhiking from town the whole way. It was about 6 miles out to our house, out of town. And rather than taking the bus at all, I would stay later and then hitchhike up the road up to our house. And so I started doing it more often, going on other trips outside of town. And finally, when I was 18, then I went on a trip to Europe for the summer, spent 4 months in the United Kingdom, France, Greece, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Belgium, Holland, Italy. I'm not hitchhiking the whole time. I had a Eurail train pass, but I started off hitchhiking in England and hitchhiked the entire length of the UK from Land's End at the very bottom to John O'Groats at the top of Scotland. I talk about all this in my book, Following My Thumb, A Decade of Unabashed Wanderlust. If you're curious, check the link down below to grab a copy of my book. But all of this was very much a part of my spiritual path. Hitchhiking is a real adventure in the unknown, and it's really having a great deal of faith in the universe, because you don't just, walk out to the highway, stick out your thumb, and the next car pulls over. You stick out your thumb, and a car passes you and rejects you, and another car passes you and rejects you, and the next car might pass you and they actually give you a thumbs down sign as they're going by really rejecting you. Or maybe they give you a thumbs up, you never know. Or a wave or a smile or whatever. It's such a unpredictable way of getting around. You might catch the next car, you might wait for hours. I think the longest I ever waited for a ride was in Alaska when we waited all evening for 4 or 6 hours or something, and then spent the night on the side of the road, and then this was with a friend of mine, and the next morning waited another 4 hours or something. So I forget, it was 8 or 10 hours altogether of waiting. But when I was in high school, then at one point I'd gotten into drugs and stuff, and at one point started going to AA meetings. Not because I was really an alcoholic, I was, just a kid having fun and stuff. But a friend and I kind of got on this kick of just, improving ourselves and sort of a spiritual quest at the time, though we didn't really kind of acknowledge it that way. We were just, trying to make the most of ourselves. And one of the lessons was choose your God. And rather than just the God, the vague concept of this guy hovering up in the clouds somewhere, pick something that you really care about and call that your God. So we picked skateboarding because we were into skateboarding. That skateboarding was like our God, was our spiritual path. And anything in life, in a way, can be a spiritual path and part of your spiritual quest, simply by making it so, by making that intention and saying, this is something that I'm going to put my creative juice into that I'm going to learn something from, that I'm going to better myself through, that I'm going to approach and look into in such a way as to see the deeper potential, the deeper meaning behind it, and how it can teach me something, and let it propel me into becoming a better person and to understanding myself and the universe better through this practice. So hitchhiking later sort of became my spiritual practice of sorts. Travel in general, but in particular hitchhiking, just because of that great unknown of it, and of having so many experiences of, like the one that I'll tell is I was at a rainbow gathering. Rainbow gatherings are these big hippie festivals that happen in the woods every year all around the world, but this one was in Michigan, and I booked a flight from Minneapolis, Minnesota, back to Oregon, and I gave myself 2.5 days to hitchhike across Wisconsin. Either 2.5 days or a day and a half, I forget, but it's like a 6-hour drive, so that seemed like more than enough time. So I left the rainbow gathering that afternoon. I think that I had a day and a half to get to Minneapolis, and left that afternoon, and I don't think that I got a ride at all that evening. If I did, then it was a short little one. Spent the night on the side of the road. The next day, kept hitching, and it was just tough going, getting across Wisconsin. They were just looking at me like I was a total freak. What are you doing standing on the side of the road there? Got a couple of very short little rides, a few miles here and there, and finally it's early afternoon, and basically I need a ride straight to the airport if I'm going to catch this flight at all. And I didn't have much money. I'd spent most of my the cash that I had at the time on this flight, so I'm getting pretty desperate. So at one point that I'm standing there, car comes flying down the road, or it was a van, I think. Makes like it's going to fly past me. Had my thumb out, and as they were going past, and I flipped it to a peace sign and just waved him a peace sign. And 30 seconds later down the road, the guy kind of squeals to a stop, turns around, comes back, picks me up, and he was like, "Hey, anyone that's going to flash a peace sign as I'm flying past him, what the heck, they deserve a ride." And he was going to Minneapolis, and so he got me straight there. I caught the flight. It all worked out. And I've had so many experiences like that where, I was losing hope. It's getting dark. Looks like I'm going to spend another night on the side of the road, which I've done lots of times anyways, but so many times just in the last minute someone pulled through. It all worked out in the end, and my faith in humanity and the universe was restored. So it's very much been a spiritual path in terms of leaping into the unknown, trusting the universe, allowing the universe to teach me through the experiences that come about, rather than living life, with things always being comfortable and easy and predictable and pleasant. To allow the universe to teach me through the experiences that I draw through my own vibration. They say you create your own reality, and that is most certainly the case. The world that we see out there and the experiences that we draw to us are a perfect reflection of our vibration, of what we are broadcasting out there into the world, our thought patterns, how we feel, how we treat others. And if you really want to propel yourself on the spiritual path, if you really want to learn something, then put yourself out there, trust the universe, and allow the universe to teach you through your experiences. So hitchhiking has been one of the very powerful ways I've learned a lot in this world and in this life. So thanks for watching. Take care.